Hey everyone, the name is Kris Barocsi. Welcome to comment time number, I don't know, this. It's written here, I hope. Editing Kris, please put a number in there. I try to answer as many of your awesome questions as possible. I have just waited way too long with this one because look how many awesome comments I have. Let's get right into it. In case you enjoy my videos, please hit subscribe and ring the bell, and don't forget about the description box. I put all sorts of interesting stuff in there. Anna B82 asked me under my "Why would I buy a Harley Benton" video, "Don't you work for Thomann though? How can you be unbiased then?" Very good question, good point. I don't think anyone is 100% unbiased because we have feelings, we have relations and whatever. So yeah, good point. Still, here's a background story that's really important for you to understand my way of thinking and my logic. I started shooting YouTube videos on a regular basis for the Thomann's Guitars and Basses YouTube channel. And this was like 5 years ago. And we agreed right at the beginning on only showing stuff that inspire us. Luckily, Thomann is a cool enough company to accept this, and they never pushed anything on us. They asked like, "Hey guys, you want to shoot something on this?" And if we agreed, if we felt like we could shoot something cool with it, if it inspired us, we shot something. If we told we would not do it justice or we didn't like it, then they told, "Okay, cool, no worries, do something else." To come back to your question, Anna, if that's the rule, and I think if someone watches the Thomann videos that comes through, if that's the rule for the official Thomann channel, why would I not follow my same rules on my private channel, right? I use whatever inspires me to play as good as I can, because I know that if I don't have these kind of pedals and amps and guitars, I will play really bad. It's just how it is. So I only do this channel because it's a lot of fun, because it's my kind of inspiration to play more, to pay attention to sounds, to gear, put everything in context. I play with my band, of course, but I cannot play all my guitars and all my stuff. So this is, for me, a creative process, shooting these videos. Gru wrote this under my Telecaster video. 3,600 pounds for just a guitar. It plays like any other guitar, even these for 200 to 500 pounds. Completely wasted money. Just buy a cheap guitar and amp, definitely below 500 pounds. Why pay more? And that's it. Here's an example for you to understand how big the difference is for me. And again, this is very subjective. This doesn't mean that it's gonna be the same difference for everyone. Not at all. For me, it's like comparing the most basic, tiny little hatchback with the smallest engine and the least amount of extras with a top-of-the-line, full extra AMG Mercedes. It's huge. And that's only because I'm really picky. And I'm not saying that everyone should be that picky. The opposite, actually. I think it's better if you're not that picky, but I just cannot accept compromises. That's why I modify even my custom shops. Like, this is all really subjective, man. There are people who don't really care about any details on a guitar, and that's totally cool. And there are other people who will say, no, these screws, these are not periodically correct. The heads are too wide, and the arched top of the screw is just, I don't know, too arched or too flat or whatever. It's all subjective, and I don't think anyone should know better. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's all about the inspiration. Pierre Langlois, I hope I pronounced your name right. It's my 70th birthday today. Wow, happy birthday. It's thank you for watching my videos. Wow. Please send me a pic of the wiring and specs of the pots for my birthday. Oh, and what amp are you playing through? Thanks for the lesson, sir. Priceless. Thanks for watching, Pierre. It's awesome. And well, the pots are absolutely standard 250K pots. You can buy them from Fender, all parts. Those are all gonna be CTS pots. CTS is a huge factory, a big company in the US who builds the pots for most brands. Then the wiring is pretty simple. It's an absolutely normal Fender Telecaster wiring with one exception. The tone pot is connected to the middle lug of the volume pot. So it's the output lug of the volume pot where the tone pot sits. It's as simple as that. I hope I can draw some sort of a simple schematics for you and put it on screen now. Yeah, there you go, Pierre. I hope this helped, and thank you. Oh, and the amp I'm using. In most of my videos, I'm using my Rev Dynamis 740 head, which is an awesome head for pedals. It has a very warm and very honest clean channel, and I love using pedals anyhow, and this amp reacts to pedals in a way I've never experienced before, and it is also beautiful. I love how it looks and it sounds fantastic. So yeah, Kevin Robb also wanted the same thing. He wanted to see the wiring of my Tele. So yeah, you had the schematics on screen. Hey Kris, could you do a short video on 50s wiring that's on your Tele? I think that's what I'm looking to do on mine. Just try it. I think you'll love it. It's such a natural and beautiful sounding setup and wiring. Wilhelm the Conqueror wrote this under my Telecaster video, the video about this guitar. Wow, big flex to aggressively gig a custom shop guitar without straplocks. I wouldn't even dare to stand up when playing a guitar priced above about 1,500 euros if it doesn't have straplocks of some kind. Thanks for worrying about the guitar. You don't have to though. I don't like straplocks a lot because they rattle around. If you have these shutters, all other brands, Dunlops and whatever, they all do this click click thing, right? Like here's the strap pin and it's like click, 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 all the time, and you have something pointy and pretty long on the guitar, which is especially annoying down here. If you want to put down the guitar and there's no stand, I know you should not do it, but every gigging guitar player will do it once or twice in a while. You have this little pointy thing here and you put it down and your guitar instantly turns in a direction. It's like super unstable and annoying, and it doesn't fit in a gig bag and it destroys your gig bag, so you always have to put off the strap. So what I'm using instead is something that I've seen being used by Joe Bonamassa and so many other guitar players playing super expensive guitars, and that's this little plastic ring. Can you see it? Wait, can you see it? I think it's in focus now. This little plastic ring is from Dunlop. I think it's called Ergo Lok. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out if you want to. You have this inner ring that you have to turn, and then you can put it off. And this goes above your strap on your normal strap pin. And it's so sturdy. It's unbelievable. It's just a piece of plastic, and it doesn't cost a lot. It's like €5 or I don't even know. I bought a couple of them years ago, and I used them on all my guitars, and it's super stable. You can pretty much grab the guitar like here and throw it around. It will not break. It's very, very reliable and super light, and it doesn't rattle. It doesn't have this metal rattle thing. It's Michael Wolf had an interesting comment under my Telecaster video. Hi Kris, I'm a little curious today, as you mentioned Andy. Just wanted to know, since you are in Germany for quite a while now, how do you think is your German? And how well does Andy speak German? Well, let's stop there for a second. I was talking about Andy, who's a German colleague of mine, not Andy Ferris. I have this colleague, Andy, who's one of the very few guys who take care of all the custom orders, custom guitars, custom shops, blah, blah, blah. And he's a very good friend of mine, and we spec'd my guitar and ordered my guitar together. I sat down with him, went through the list, had some brainstorming going on, and then, yeah, so that's that story. He's German, he's Andy, he's not Andy. So that's out of the way. My German is pretty good because I consider myself lucky enough to be super geeky about details. Well, maybe that's a curse, I don't know. I was really focused on learning the language as good as I can. And of course I have an accent and I'll make grammatic mistakes and everything. So yeah, but I'm working on it and I'm getting better every day, I hope. And in case you want to hear how it sounds when I'm speaking German, so klingt es. Keine Ahnung, es ist total komisch jetzt in die Kamera durchzureden, vor allem weil 70-80% von den Zuschauern nichts versteht. Also ich muss wahrscheinlich Untertiteln benutzen oder irgend sowas. Ja, also so ist mein Deutsch. You asked about Andy Ferris. Well, his German is quite frankly miserable, terrible. He's really, really bad. And also, I'm kidding. No, he's surprisingly good actually. I didn't hear him speak German for, I don't know, over a year, and then he was speaking German with a German person, and I was like, whoa dude, look at you. Michael Duesenberg. What an awesome guitar, Kris. He's talking about my Tele, my butterscotch. Where are you, baby? Haha, there she is. What an awesome guitar, Kris. Can you explain what is the difference between 50s wiring versus the treble bleed mod? Okay, there are all kinds of basic wirings in guitars depending on the model, on the age of the guitar. Modern wiring versus 50s wiring, that the main difference is that you connect the tone pot and the volume pot in a different way. This has the biggest effect on how your pots work. So let me show you. I think it's going to be easier that way. This is a messy little piece of wiring out of my Squier bass, the one I refinished and renovated last year. So these were the old pots. What I want to show you is this. This is, for example, a volume pot. You have the ground on the back and everything, and one of the logs, this one, if you're looking at them like from underneath, the left one is always ground, and then the middle one is the output and the right one is the input. On a modern wiring, you will have the tone pot connected to the input of the volume pot. So the two pots, the tone and the volume pot, sort of react to each other. To minimize the effect that the tone pot has on the volume pot and your sound, if you turn the volume pot, you can connect the tone pot here to the output of the volume pot. This way, using the 50s wiring on most guitars, you can avoid having this treble loss while you're turning your volume down on the guitar. And this way you don't need any other artificial solution or anything like a mod to have a balanced EQ while your volume drops. Treble bleed mod is that you have between these two logs, the input and the output of the volume pod, a capacitor and a resistor. You put those two things together and wire them, like solder them on these two logs. With that, you sort of compensate for this treble loss, because those two will cause bass loss, right? And if you have a treble loss because of your tone pot and your modern wiring, and you have the bass loss because of that treble beat mod, you have a balanced loss, right? I have these bells every 15 minutes. It's awesome. I have to pay attention to the bells every time. I don't want to have them in my videos. Really happy about it. $357 Jazzman, thank you for the video and Tele love. You're welcome, dude. Please let me know which off-the-shelf Mexican Tele comes close to your juicy beast of a Tele. Mexican Teles are pretty damn good. If you want this big neck, the Baja or Baya Tele is a pretty good call. I hope they're still in production. I just can't remember. I think I've seen a couple of them a few months ago. Great guitars. Huge necks, by the way. Not the most affordable Mexican Teles, but definitely, in my opinion, the ones I would gravitate towards immediately. Rob Chaletta, I have a 330, a Gibson ES 330 it is, with a Bigsby, just like you played in the intro. Every time I use the Bigsby, it loses its tuning. Any tips to help? I put on locking tuners already. It helped a little, but not enough. Frustrating, because I love that guitar, and it's limiting because it goes out of tune. Yeah, Bigsby's. Let me grab the guitar first. If you want to make sure that a guitar with a Bigsby trem doesn't go out of tune all the time, you have to, first of all, make sure that the tuners are good. Then, the nut is very important. The slots for the strings have to have the right width and depth, and you have to make sure that the material is self-lubricating, like bone or Graphtec, like this graphite composite. And if it's not, you have to lubricate the nut if it's like a plastic nut. If you're not sure about this whole nut thing, maybe visit a luthier or a guitar tech and let him check your guitar's nut and the slots and everything. And if that's cool, you can put a check on that. Then the last thing that matters and can mess up everything is this tunematic style bridge. these saddles are pretty sharp on the top, right there where the strings sit. It's like, well, if this is the string and this is the saddle at the edge up there, it's really pointy. It's like it has this angle, and this little surface where the strings sit on can sort of grab the string. It's like, imagine the wound strings, especially those three, the E, A, and the D, with these windings, can sort of hang on this this pointy, edgy saddle top. And that's really bad, because that way the string obviously cannot move around freely and go back to its original position. There are methods to solve this problem. You can use a knot file with the fitting gauge, obviously, for all the strings, and sort of go for a longer carving or groove in the saddle. Let me check on the monitor if it's in shot at all. Yeah, it is. Yes. So you have to make sure that this little groove where the string goes in is a little deeper and longer, and the angle is right. Then you also have to make sure that all the edges are smooth and no rough edges will break your strings all the time, obviously. If you just want to be on the safe side, just go for it and buy this kind of bridge, but with roller saddles on it. The only issue is that those little wheels, the saddle wheels, will change the guitar sound and the sustain for sure. And many do not enjoy that a lot and go back to their normal bridge. Artur Brzozowski. This guitar looks great. I love your nerd energy while making every detail perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This string tree placing is really interesting. I've seen it on Brent Mason's signature, and I'm sure you did it on purpose. What does it give? In terms of pickups, I've heard lots of great things about Firebird pickups. It should be easy to drop in and test if you like them. I really enjoyed this video. Keep rocking. Thanks so much, Archer. Let me grab the guitar. We're talking about this guitar, the Troublecaster. I did this video on the guitar, and you pointed out this string tree position. It's pretty far to the front, but to be honest, it's not very unique. It's not my invention or anything. I just went for the most natural string break angle and put the string tree length, push it on the strings with my finger and slide it back and forth and sort of figure out where it fits best. And this position, which is pretty far forward, like around the G strings tuner, seemed to be the best place. I just looked at this one, my actual Tele, and look where the string tree is. It's pretty much the same spot, because Leo Fender got it right the first time. Oilid has a question, a couple of questions. Hey Oilid. Hello Kris, question for your next FAQ. Have you tried Duesenbergs? Yes, I did. If so, what are your thoughts? They're built really well, like super consistent, like as perfect as a guitar can be built, to be honest. Like from the finish to the setup, from the fret job to the wirings and everything is perfect on those guitars. They are really easy to play. They sound great and everything. The necks are a little too thin for my taste, so that's why I didn't connect with them on a level to actually want to own one. Most players love this modern feeling, modern playability, and the vintage look. For me, it's a little too far away. Like they feel like a really modern guitar and they look like super retro old guitars. Your next question is, and compared to guitars you have, like the Les Paul or the ES, that's exactly the thing. A Les Paul and an ES 330 or 335 looks vintage and also feels pretty vintage. Like, you know, you don't have that fret excess on the top of the neck because the body's in the way, and huge necks, and that sort of fits together in my head. You wrote like I'm heavily eyeing a Star Player TV Phonic White. Dude, such a good guitar. If you hesitate, just don't hesitate. If you love modern thin necks, you will love the guitar. Stanislav Migra has a great question about pickups for HSS configuration. I tried not to fall too deep into the pickup changing rabbit hole. My question is how to pair humbuckers with singer coils. So it should work well together, it shouldn't be too strong, too weak when you toggle between the singer coils and the humbucker. HSS pickup configuration is not super simple to do right. Why? Because humbuckers will need to sound right, to have all the top end and everything, all the frequencies you want from them, will need a 500K volume pot and in most cases also 500K tone pot. Singer coils, on the other hand, will need a 250K volume and tone pot, which is the half of that. And that is a conflict, that is a problem, because if you mix those two pickups and go for a 250K volume and tone pot, your humbucker in the bridge position will sound pretty dull. If you go for 500K volume and tone pot, your both singer coils will sound super harsh and thin and like ugly, really not nice. So what can you do? First of all, there are brands who do this right and have the fitting pickups. For example, think of all the brands who are really good at HSS Super Strats or Strats. First of all, Fender. Their V-Mod pickups and the, what's the humbucker called? Shawbucker. Those fit really well together. And if you play an HSS Fender Strat, you will know what I mean. They work. They just work fine and sound fine. Then there's Soar. They make really good pickups, own pickups, and they do so many guitars with this config, like two singer coils and the humbucker in the bridge position. Same thing for exotic guitars. I love exotic guitars and the raw vintage pickups. I have a raw vintage neck humbucker in my Les Paul. So there are brands who make sure that this HSS thing works just as it is. But if you don't have these special brands around, you cannot buy them, or they just cost too much or whatever, make sure that the singer coils you're going for are not the most quiet and super vintagey singer coils, maybe like a little hotter, or that they have a little more oomph or output. The humbucker should have a clear presency kind of sound, and that way, and not a lot of output, that way you have a way better balance between the singer coils and the humbucker. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Comment Time. If you have any questions, anything you want me to answer, you know where to find me. Write it in the comments below, and I'll try to answer it. You guys take it easy. I'll be back with a new video very soon. It's gonna be next week, I guess. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.